All right, well, first of all, let's put gold in its proper context because I'm not all about gold. I mean, I'm an investment manager and I've constantly or consistently recommended that people hold maybe 5 or 10% of a portfolio in gold. But the remainder of the portfolio is in, income producing assets, companies that I think have good fundamentals, that are growing their earnings, that are paying good dividends. I look at gold as a...
Yeah,
Richard.
everything he just said was very stupid. So this is going to be a very easy debate. I'm sorry for you guys that we're hoping for something very exciting. He just crushed his own argument in the first minute. I'm facing a guy that owns 10 to 20 times more not gold things than gold things because he knows that those things are better assets. He says that gold holds value over time. It doesn't. Here's a chart of gold adjusted for inflation where you lost money for 40 years. 40 years you lost money. 40. If you had bought gold 10 years ago, you're down today. You lost money from 10 years ago, not even inflation adjusted. So for a guy that doesn't even talk his own book, literally starts the conversation with, I don't even like this stuff enough to own more than 5 or 10% of it, it's going to be a very easy debate to win. And the charts, the facts are on my side. Peter says gold, well, I don't want to crush all his arguments ahead. I could just beat all his arguments now. What he's going to say is gold has value, Bitcoin doesn't have value, which is instantly defeated by the fact that you can exchange Bitcoin for gold. I remember back when Bitcoin cost less than an ounce of gold. Now Bitcoin costs 20 times more. You could have bought, in the top of, I bought Bitcoin at 30. I mined it at 50 cents. In 2013, it went up to $1,300, which was the price of gold. An ounce of gold was worth less than a Bitcoin in 2013, 2014. Now, an ounce of gold is worth 20 times less than a Bitcoin. And so the fact that you could turn Bitcoin into gold at any time you want, I think his company even accepts Bitcoin to turn it into gold, disproves his idea that that Bitcoin has no value. And I don't even like Bitcoin. Bitcoin destroys the environment just like gold does. 50 to 60 people just died yesterday mining gold. Yesterday. How many people died mining Bitcoin? So this is the reality that we live in. I've already won the argument. It's just a question whether the audience gets to notice.
If individuals prefer the gold standard, they can do it themselves. They don't have to hold government paper as money. They can hold the real thing. They can hold gold.
But the thing is that you suggest people do hold government paper. You just may not be aware of it. So
When
Peter
do I
and
suggest that?
You'll see. I'm going to show you. Peter and I actually agree on some things. We both think that the government printing money left and right forever is disgusting and steals from savers. Do we agree on that?
Yes.
Okay. We both think that the value of the dollar over time is going to zero, literally zero. Charlie Munger agrees with us on this. Do we agree on that?
Well, it may go to zero, but it may approach it. It's already practically zero based on what it was worth in 1913. So,
I think Peter and I both agree that we like people to self-custody their funds so that they can't be robbed by their banks. So there was some political activity going on in Canada where if people even sent money to other people so that they could buy food and eat, their bank accounts were seized under emergency action, as though there was some giant emergency, like a war was going on. Everyone else has it bad everywhere else in the world right now, and yet there's no emergency actions in those countries, but Canadians are having their bank accounts seized, and I don't think Peter likes that. You don't like that either, right? That sucks. We agree on that?
No, I do not like what the Canadian government is doing at all.
So Peter and I are both for self-sovereignty. We're both for people not being robbed by the government by holding the government's dollars. So the point is, there's things we agree on, right? And we both agree that stocks have been wonderful investments, which is why he promotes them. But there's a trick to stocks that people don't understand. When you used to buy stocks, you used to get shares in companies, and they were physical printed shares. And now when you buy stocks, you don't get the shares. Your broker gets them. But guess what? He doesn't even actually get them. A giant company in New York called the DTCC actually holds everybody's shares. And every once in a while, they do an audit and they discover, oops, people have been trading shares that didn't actually exist because neither you have the real shares nor your broker. And then the DTCC, maybe they have them, maybe they don't. And it's a giant house of cards. And you just hope that if when you go to get your money, they don't give it to you, now you have to sue them and you're basically relying on the government to handle custody for you. And it's very similar to gold. By the way, as far as the utility in stocks go, you realize that if you get a 40% share of your local Burger King, you can't change the prices. You can't change the hours of operation. You can't add an item to the menu, and you can't pull cash out of the register. And so this concept that somehow owning shares in a company is somewhere more wholesome or better than owning part of a cryptocurrency, which may give you rights to control the consensus of the network, which may issue you trustless dividends with no middlemen whatsoever. And so I created something that solves a lot of problems that Peter hates. Peter likes self-custody. I solved it. Peter likes yield. I solved it. Peter likes delayed gratification. I solved it. But he just doesn't realize I've solved the things that he cares about. So I'm making people literal millionaires. And he says other things which aren't the case, such as some people have to lose in order for other people to win. It's not true. It's 100% not true. When your house goes up in value, who loses? When your gold goes up in value, who loses? When a baby is born or a tree grows, who loses? They're created out of thin air. Trees are created out of thin air. And so designing systems which accrue value for shareholders is very similar to designing an economy or to designing a cryptocurrency. And yes, I appreciate your compliments that I have designed something that is extremely sticky, that gets people to delay gratification, that gives people hopes about the future, which is why I have seen people whose lives have been saved by hacks that I couldn't save with my self-help books. I give away self-help.
Well, how many hacks have you sold personally?
If you look publicly, it looks like 0, but I can't tell you because Howey test, right?
So
but if you do chainalysis and you follow the OA wallet, it appears to have never sold anything. But who's the OA wallet? Nobody knows.
You who are foolish enough to think there's a free lunch and they're going to get rich in your pyramid scheme, but they're not. They're going to go broke, and eventually they may come looking for you because all the money that your followers are going to lose is the money that you're making. And we'll see how the authorities feel about that. When you end up in a court of law, because I know a lot of the people who lost money are going to be looking to have to try to claw back some of their losses from your winnings.
So what Peter here is doing is called a parade of imaginary horribles. So to the best of my knowledge, no cryptocurrency founder has been imprisoned for creating a cryptocurrency. Satoshi, who created a cryptocurrency...
I didn't say imprisoned, but I think you will be sued. But go ahead.
Okay, so let me give you an example of a company that created a cryptocurrency and got sued. Unregistered security offering, Tezos, got sued, settled. EOS, unregistered security offering, raised $4.2 billion, settled for $27 million, and got a waiver to continue operating their business. And the reason the SEC is friendly towards and settles with these companies is because they actually do care about the investors, and the investors don't want their money back because they all made money. People that bought EOS at the ICO made money and are still up today. People that bought Tezos at the ICO made money and are still up today. And so this idea that people are going to want their money back is factually false, provably false by SEC jurisprudence, by SEC case law, and it's obvious.
So we haven't finished this
Right.
game yet. The air hasn't come out of this bubble yet.
Peter's talking about buying gold a long time ago. Gold was down. If you had bought gold in 1980, it dropped 70% until 2000. You were down for 20 years.
Because the 10 years before 1980, it went from 35 to 850. So it had a spectacular rise, and it never went back down anywhere near $35 again.
Peter,
so
you can't say...
just look at these time windows and talk about, and I've already said, gold is not a long-term investment. I never recommend gold to anybody as an investment. It is a store of value. It's cash. Instead of sticking dollar bills under your mattress, you can have gold coins. They are much better to hold than fiat currency. But over long periods of time, you want to invest your money and let it grow. Gold doesn't grow. It just holds its value. It doesn't
even hold it, man.
Accrue value. It doesn't gain value.
You're down versus 10 years ago. You're down versus 40 years ago, inflation adjusted. You're down versus almost every time frame.
Well,
coins made an afternoon as a joke outperformed. You have to, well, I'll tell you. There's a coin that was literally made as a joke in an afternoon that is inferior technology called Dogecoin. Dogecoin is a copy of Litecoin, and Litecoin is a copy of Bitcoin. And basically the difference between Litecoin and Dogecoin is they changed the logo, and they made it inflate more. And it's actually, they don't even have their own miners. They're merge mined with Litecoin, and Litecoin's trash on its own. So it's a copy of trash. And I don't even like Bitcoin that much. You know, people say Bitcoin's never been hacked. Yes, it has. The network was forked once. Somebody printed 6 billion extra coins. There was another hack that could have been executed 2 years ago where anyone could have minted as many free Bitcoin as they wanted. but the developer responsibly disclosed it instead of just minting all the free Bitcoin. I tell people the truth about the prices, that every cryptocurrency drops 85% more often than people wished, except for stable coins, and they have huge counterparty tail end risk. I'm very honest about the price risk. I'm very honest about what these things can and can't do. Bitcoin's trash technology. It has very low throughput. You can never do all the transactions of the world on it. It has a very conservative roadmap. They almost never improve it. The price performance is garbage. I mean, from the COVID dip, Ethereum outperformed Bitcoin by threefold, and Hex outperformed it by 100.
With all those flaws, why do you maintain it's better than gold?
Well, because the price chart of gold sucks. And the problem with gold is,
you're just looking at a 40-year price chart. So
I'm only 40 years old, bro. How far back should I go?
Well, if you were more near zero, it's going to feel like zero.
So, guys,
did you want to?
I mean, it's very simple. Peter has a lot of parade of imaginary horribles. Everything's going to go wrong. You could listen to Peter, or you could just look at the chart. Does this look like everyone lost their money? There's dips. Those are people taking profits. Those are guys getting cashed out. Those are guys getting rich and buying yachts and golf courses and jets and Ferraris and Lamborghinis and you name it. That's what those dips are. And these are big dips, guys. These are 60 and 70% dips hiding in here. But 60 and 70% dips don't matter when you overcome them with 500 and 600% gains. Cryptocurrency is a world of free money. Free money. As a Bitcoin holder, you got Hex for free. When I mined Bitcoin, it was free. I double-clicked an exe on my computer. As a Hex holder, our community received free Uniswap token, free 1-inch token, because we use these products and we were just given the coins for free. We received free Git coins. We received tons of free coins out the yin-yang, literally free money. And here's what's weird about crypto and about me as a person. If you see a guy drowned in jewelry and covered with all this spectacle, your brain would be right to say scammer. When you see charts of 1,000,000% returns in 2 years, you're right to think, oh, it's got to be a scam. And you'd be 99.9% right. It would save you a lot of money and a lot of horror, and it would save you a lot of pyramid schemes and a lot of scams and a lot of Ponzi's. It would save you all that. But you would also miss that one rare little sliver of world change that actually happened. Amazon dropped 95% in the year 2000. 95%. You could have pointed at it and said, look, late stage capitalism, Ponzi scheme, pyramid scheme, greater fool. What can you do with these shares anyway? You can't do anything. You can't affect the company. You're just hoping to sell to the greater fool, which is all the shares, by the way. And guess what? They're over half of all the commerce in the United States on the internet now. Over half of all the money made on the internet goes directly into Amazon's pockets, even though it dropped 95%. And so this new paradigm of massive drops with massive gains is what the future looks like, particularly when the money is more and more fake. The reason all these charts are so easy to get to go up and right is because they're priced in the dollar. And the dollar just gets worth less every day. The dollar is mostly garbage. You only occasionally see it go up in value right when the stock market crashes. And the stock market used to crash every 10 years, but they decided to skip a cycle and just print their way out of it. So I've created something that is one of the few things in the world that can change man's relationship to government. You don't have to beg the government to give you their fake inflated money. You can use your own money that's peer-to-peer. You can trust math instead of men.